And we're on. Hello, welcome to podcast episode 122 of Rope-a-Dope Boxing, where the two Daves are back for your midweek preview of all the boxing that's going on this weekend, and there's a bloody lot of it. If you're new to the channel, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Now, there's enough of you watching us on YouTube. When you watch, just click the button. Just click subscribe, get those algorithms going, and get more people, noticing us, seeing us, listening to us. We've got some good fucking content, guys. Just click subscribe. But for those of you who have clicked subscribe, thank you very, very much. Davey boy, how are you enjoying the sunny weather in London town? That's it. As if it is sunny. It's bloody lovely up here in West Midlands, mate.
Yeah, it is sunny, mate. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It gets everyone in a good mood. Makes you want to have a drink.
Yeah.
The sun just brings out the best in people, doesn't it? You know.
Mini skirts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the women are starting to look nice. I don't know where they've been all rest of the year, but they're out now. Yeah. And but yeah, it's great, mate. You know, we're coming to the end of the week, which is nice. So yeah, got Stag Do next week. Lee Harper's. So I'm gearing myself up for next week. And
oh yes, you're in training, aren't you? How are you getting on?
I had a couple of beers on Tuesday night for the Arsenal Champions League game. I went to the pub and had a few.
Couple of barrels.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't do in training. You don't do the 26 miles in one go, mate. You work your way into it. So I'll have a couple of beers this weekend. It's a bank holiday weekend, which is beautiful. So yeah, and then next weekend's going to be just pure chaos, mate. Pure fucking chaos.
Lovely job. A bit like the boxing at the weekend. I think we've got about 9 fights to preview. There's so much going on. But before we start doing a bit of previewing, it's time for your news section, brother, isn't it? We didn't do it last week for obvious reasons, but it's time for yours.
David McDonald and the Dong.
There we go.
But I didn't go
a long dong.
I know. I just held the note there. You know what I mean? But I ain't gone 2 weeks back because 2 weeks is a long time. But I have gone about a week back. So starting out then. So Ring Magazine number 3 on July 12th in New York City will feature co-main events: Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz and Shakur Stevenson versus William Cepeda. Cepeda Stevenson will be treated as the main event during fight week. The boxers will enter last for all festivities. On fight night, Berlanga and Shiraz will close the show. The card features boxers representing 8 nations and will take place on the eve of the FIFA Club World Cup final. So what do you make of all that information?
Shakur Stevenson to William Cepeda should be the main event anyway. It's a better fight and it's for a world title. So let's just end that right there. Yes, Edgar Berlanga can punch and Hamza Shiraz is dipping his toe in at 168, but it's not the fight. I get Hamza Shiraz is a ambassador for Riyadh season and all that kind of jazz, but it's not the main fight. Whether you like Shakur or not, it is the best fight of the night. That seems like to have Edgar Berlanga and Shiraz fighting afterwards. Channel 5 and Wasserman do this, don't they? They put a fight on after the main event, but a lot of people fuck off. So I hope there's a lot of casuals there, Dave. I hope there's a lot of boxing hardcore because they won't be sticking around to see Hamza Shiraz in the States, and they won't be. Is it in the States? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't be sticking around to see Edgar Berlanga if they're casual. So I find that a bit strange. I know the FIFA World Club Cup is on DAZN. Obviously, the Ring Magazine is on DAZN. Turks has got a percentage in DAZN, so it kind of makes sense to kind of collab. But I'm not really a massive male football fan anymore, Dave. So the football side of it, I couldn't give a shit. I just want to see good competitive fights, as I always say on here, mate. I'm down with that. But just to your main point, Shakur versus Cepeda should be the main event. Period.
Yeah, I think they're trying something different. And they're going down the UFC route with UFC being called a number. So you have UFC 156 and whatnot. So this is Ring Magazine number 3. So they're going down that sort of route, which is fine. Yeah,
well, we do it here. We do it here. Podcast episode 122. So
yeah, that's exactly that. Yeah, exactly. which is no mean feat, by the way.
No.
So we've done so many good episodes. So yeah, listen. All the other razzmatazz and shite all around it. Not I'm with you. I'm not really asked and where they come out. I just want to see good fights. And for me, these two are good fights. Everyone's been calling for Cepeda Stevenson for a while. There's questions now about Cepeda with Tevin Farmer. So, can he answer them? Is Shakur Stevenson can, if he wins this, it's a massive massive win. And Hamza Shiraz coming off a lucky performance there. in his last fight. Everyone says he lost. He got a draw. So he's moved up in weight. And to be fair to him, he's took on... We've been Edgar Berlanga. I'm on the fence about how good he is, but he doesn't have to. Jaimie Munguia doesn't have to take this fight on his first move up in a new weight. So respect to that.
It's a dangerous fight.
There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions to be asked. It is an interesting one. I didn't see that one coming at all. No,
it's a dangerous fight for him.
It is, but no one's seen this one coming. It's quite out of left field, that fight. So it's intriguing. So it's a good card for me. The razzmatazz and all the other stuff in between it. 8 fighters from all over the world and 8 nations. I don't know.
Yeah, I like all that. Look, end of the day, if they're going to try something new, they're going to try and bring boxing into the new age and trial these different nations, 8 versus 8, all these kind of things that Frank was doing, the Magnificent Five and team. I'm all for it. I love it. But as long as the fight's competitive, if it's red corner beats blue corner, we're not moving forward, are we? But if they're competitive, I'm all game for it, mate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it, mate. So moving swiftly on, and a fight that was announced, we probably touched on it with Jay the other day. Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois rematch for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship will now take place 1 week later on July 19th at Wembley. It was originally planned for July 12th, the same day as Edgar Berlanga, Shiraz, Stevenson, that, but we moved to the 19th. Look, I'm okay with this fight. Daniel Dubois is a different fighter. We'll from the fighters he's had since then, he's improved for sure. Still don't think he's improved enough to win, but I think they're taking a chance having this at Wembley. We were talking heavily on casuals the other day about them, with Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and what. And there was millions of casuals there, and we've gone through this. But I'm telling you that fight didn't sell out till the last knock-ins. As big as the whole event and the stories were, it still didn't sell out. Now, this is a fight for boxing hardcores, really. Yes, Usyk's fantastic. We all know that, but the casual fan doesn't know this. I think this is going to be a hard sell at Wembley. I don't think it's a hard sell anywhere else, but they're not selling out 90,000 for this. I don't believe. I more than likely will go. And I did put the offer to yourself that if you get the time off work and I get tickets, I would love to go with yourself. Mm-hmm. But I think there's going to be tickets available for this at all stages. I don't know what you think about yourself. The fight I love, but I'm not sure it's a Wembley fight. And the magnitude of it as a boxing fan, yes, it is. For the fight, it is. Yes, it is. I don't think that it's going to sell 90,000. No,
I agree. The fact that they've actually gone on to Piers Morgan to promote the show just tells you all you need to know. And yes, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. went on it, but you kind of expected them to do it. 2 Brits, been on every media outlet. But for them, I mean, when AJ and Fury fought Alexander Usyk, they weren't going on shows like that. Especially Usyk wasn't going on them. So obviously Daniel Dubois is not the name. He's still not a casual name, if you like, really. Yes, people know what he done to AJ, but they still box reckon him to an extent. So he doesn't really sell. So you bang on, it doesn't sell. Maybe they should have gone for a smaller stadium, if you like, possibly the biggest arena you could get in the UK. I don't know. But no, I'm for your original point, mate. I'm on the same page as you. It won't sell out, and you'll be able to get tickets right to the last noggins, as you just said there. Again, I'm getting a bit boring. I'm getting a bit repetitive. I couldn't care less if there was 100,000 there or one person. As long as that fight is competitive, a world, undisputed world heavyweight champion of the world, I can give 2 fucks. But yes, it does make it, the atmosphere and what you talked about the other day when you was there. Of course, it makes it a much special event, better fight, and all that surrounds it. But yeah, no, it doesn't sell out. Right.
I also think as well the promotion is difficult because as great as Usyk is, he's English is not his first language, so he's not gonna. He struggles with it a little bit, which is fair enough. It's not his first language, so he's not going to sell it that way. And Daniel Dubois doesn't speak very well himself. He's funny in what he does, but he doesn't mean to be funny. So the fight it's going to be a difficult sell. I mean, he tried to push Usyk. He pushed Usyk, and that was about as exciting as it got.
Canelo doesn't sell over here unless he's in with a big name. Casuals over here don't know anything about Canelo. That's a fact. Yeah. When I've had conversations with people about boxing and they ask me about this podcast and why I do it and things like that, I say, well, when I meet people and I say, well, I'm more into boxing than football, and then you get the Tyson Fury talk, you get the AJ talk, you might get the odd Canelo shout out. But apart from him kind of going in with Billy Joe, you don't really know anything about him. So he's kind of the same. If he came to the UK, unless he fought a Chris Eubank Jr. or somebody that's got a stellar name in the UK, he ain't selling out stadiums in the UK either, man. No. It's just the way it is. No, I don't think anyway, Dave.
No, I don't think so either. Like I say, I'll more likely go because You know, and I'll leave it to the last minute anyway.
Yeah, but you're hardcore, so you're boxing hardcore. You're kind of expected to go, aren't you? So
I am, especially as I don't think it will sell out. So tickets should be easy to get.
Yeah, definitely.
Announced. Brian Norman Jr. will defend his WBO welterweight world title against Jin Sasaki on June 19th in Tokyo, Japan. He's had to go to Tokyo for defense. Traveling.
With Gum Shield, he will travel.
Yeah, like I say. Again, Sasaki, I don't know great deals about him, but he must have a decent enough backing to manage to get the champion over to his shores to fight him. So, yeah, intrigue there for me. But yeah, so Norman Jr. is going to Japan. So that's a strange one. You know, you'd like to think they'd keep it on home soil, you know, try and keep the advantage. But Norman Jr. is doing something different. Must be getting paid well.
Yeah, maybe he can't get the other champions in the division, mate. Maybe. This is a voluntary or mandatory? It's probably a voluntary, isn't it?
I would say
so. They've got together with, I'm guessing he's one of Uncle Honda's boys. They put 2 and 2 together. They've gone over. He's probably, even though he's going to be the away fighter, he'll still be on. He's the A side, isn't he? He's on the A side of the money. He's the champion. Sasaki's chasing something he's got. I'm with you again. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about this guy. I just know he's tough. I know he's worked his way up the rankings, but I couldn't sit here and tell you what he's done actually in the ring without box rep. So, yeah, we know what Brian Norman Jr. brings. Well, from my opinion, anyway, I don't think he's a very skilled boxer. He's got the fundamentals, but I don't think they're great. But he's got one-punch power. He doesn't sit down in the shots. He doesn't load up. He taps you with a jab, as we saw in his last fight, and he's fucking, he's dangerous. So I can, just off the top of my head, even though I'm kind of going backwards on what I said, I could see probably the jab outboxing him. Brian Norman lands a howitzer, and it's game over. Good night, Vienna. And then we start getting on the mic, and you're calling out your Bootses and your Barrios and these types of guys. So
rocking the mic, as you say.
Rocking the mic, as you say. Yeah.
I've only got a couple more pieces because going back a week, it's all Conor Benn and Eubank heavy bits and pieces around that. So yeah, but there's a couple of these. There's one that I'm going to end on that you're quite like. Anyway, this is the penultimate one. So Wardley versus Jarrell Miller is off.
Yeah.
Wardley's June 7th clash with Jarrell Miller is off after Miller was forced to withdraw the contest with a shoulder injury. A replacement for Miller is set to be announced next week. I'm hearing it could be Hrgovic. So yeah, that fight is now off. I don't know whether it'll be done again. There's a little bit of needle there about rap songs and silliness, but yeah, Wardley Miller off.
Yeah, I saw the same news, mate. Hrgovic, Haney, and Hunter. I've got a lot of love for Michael Hunter. I'd love to see him get his chance because he's waiting around like a spare prick at a wedding, waiting to get his shot at Kubrat Pulev. And this would be a bigger fight for him in terms of status, if you like, money as well. And he was supposed to fight the other week, wasn't he? And it was pulled by Don King. So that kind of shows you where he's at in his career, which is a shame. I couldn't care less about Jarrell Miller when he's in there. When he's in, in terms of when he's there, he's entertaining and he can sell a fight. But in terms of him being a boxer and being allowed to box when he's injecting all over the place, I couldn't give a shit. So I'm not really bothered that fight's called off. For Fabio, I want him to fight the best challenger available. So maybe off the back of the Joe Joyce fight, you probably are looking at Hrgovic. There's still questions over Haney for me. I think you've agreed in the past, but I've got love for Michael Hunter, so I'd love to see him in there. But either way, hope Fabio gets to fight a challenge for what it's worth, and the fight goes ahead, mate. But yeah, Jarrell Miller, so what?
Yeah, I'm for you. I feel a little bit sorry for Fabio Wardley, really. He come off a good win against Fraser Clark, and he was stepping up the opponents now. Jarrell Miller is a name at best. He will bring eyes to the event, the fight. You know what I mean? Something that Fabio Wardley's probably not had before. So it was stepping in the right direction. I hope that the opponent he gets is a name. Again, I'm not got no issues with Michael Hunter. Hrgovic is a good name from again. We go into what we think about him. We've done that before. But for where Fabio Wardley is, I think he's stepping in the right direction. So I would have liked for him to, had that fight and and keep stepping up. But if he goes in with a Hrgovic, I've got no issues with the replacement.
No.
This last bit, right? This is Eddie Hearn. We know what Eddie Hearn's like. He's put this out 4 hours ago. I don't know whether you've seen it or not.
No.
This is fresh off the press. I don't many people with podcasts have mentioned this, but it's something you're like, and I'm going to end it on this. So he's put done deal finally with a handshake emoji. You ready for it? Drum roll. Uzbek Power versus the Monster. best fight in the division with an Uzbek flag, fire, and a Japanese flag. And then a picture of him with MJ Akhmadaliev in the beret with his belt around his waist, giving him a high five. So he's either throwing out there a little bit of a carrot dangler for the fans, or it's done. But 4 hours ago, he's put on his Twitter that the deal's done between MJ and Naoya Inoue.
Unless Cardenas at the weekend upsets the apple cart, but I can't see it. Mate, that's what we want anyway. Look, I think according to what Eddie said, that the WBA granted Team Inoue a kind of pass, didn't they? That he didn't have to fight MJ last time when he went and took that stupid fight against Kim Jim Yum, or what it was called.
Yeah.
But it's the only fight to make. He's running out of opponents in this division. We don't want to see this fight at the weekend. Yes, we're going to preview it and wax lyrical about Inoue for what it's worth. But it's a shit fight. He's not a name in the division. MJ is the only fight to make. And obviously, we spoke with Jay about Tapales, Nakatani coming up. He's running out of good opposition. And the next best is MJ, even though he has been beat by Tapales. But I think the WBA were going to order it anyway. And I think from what Eddie's, they're losing their tether with Team Inoue. So if he refuses to fight MJ, they're just going to strip him. So I don't know. But yeah, if it is true, mate, then let's go. Let's get this one out of the way. Let's get back to Japan.
You there?
I'm there. You gone quiet?
Oh no, obviously you went a bit fuzzy there. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm all for it, mate. I'm all for it, mate. If it gets done again, we're at that sort of level where purse bids and stuff, like we haven't got to that, but that's a sort of until it's signed, sealed, they're facing off. I've seen something. It's just Eddie Hearn putting a tweet out. I could do that. Say it's a done deal.
Bites, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully it's true. And that's it for David McDonald and the Dongs.
Just held the note there. Well done. That's going to be a new thing, though, isn't it? Oh, see how long you can go.
How long I can do it for you?
Oh, what was you say? So we're talking about that, right? What I was listening to so work the other night, and there was a song come on the radio. What was it? I know.
That one. Sunshine when it's gone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
No, it was lovely day. Lovely day. Yeah, and he holds it. That was the one. Yeah, I think everyone wants to talk about that. Fuck me. I'll go on for a while. You've got some competition there.
He's 100%. That's done in the studio because there's no way you can hold that note for that long.
Jeez. Yeah. Right. Prediction League, ladies and gentlemen. Going into Eubank Ben last week, the scores were David Holland 6, myself 8 points. I'm talking about. Let's see how we both got on. Eubank Ben, we both went for Chris Eubank Jr. by KO. He done it on points. That was a point apiece there. Anthony Yard versus Lyndon Arthur. Again, we both went for Anthony Yard by KO. He did it on points. There was another point apiece there. Liam Smith against Aaron McKenna. Both went for Beefy, so nothing for us there. Fuck all, should I say. Chris William Smith against the American. Well, I think he's Canadian, I think someone said the other day. The North American mouthy gobshite. We both went for Chris William Smith. Again, the job was done on points. So there was a point apiece there because we both went for a knockout. And Chev Clark versus Vidal Riley. I went for Chevon Clark by stoppage. So fuck all for me. But Dave went for Vidal Riley on points, which gives him 3 points, which made the scores at the weekend. Dave Graham 3, David Holland 6. Now, if I wanted to be a complete twat, I could have made this a draw. How can he do that, he's saying? Well, let me go into what I mean. At the weekend, we also... I called it right, round 3. However, that was 2 weeks ago, and we didn't do that prediction. So David Holland, going into this weekend, did pull another point back, which makes the scores. Dave G 8, David Holland 7. The comeback is on, brother. Well done.
Yes. Thank you very much. You've woken a sleeping bear, mate.
Yeah, I have. That's exactly what I've done, mate. Look, there's so much to get through this weekend. 9 fights, as I said, we've got to preview all over on DAZN, Sky Sports, and we'll start on Friday night over in Times Square, New York. VIP list this is. I think there's only about 200 people allowed. I've got to be honest, Dave. I've been so caught up with things at home this week. I'm normally like, I watch everything. I watch so much, but this week you've got this card over at Times Square. You've got the one on Saturday over in Riyadh, and obviously you've got Inoue doing his bits and pieces over in Las Vegas. I haven't watched any of it. I like to watch the grand arrivals, the media workouts, the press conferences. I haven't had a chance to watch any. So I'm quite slacking. So I'm just kind of, have you seen anything how they're going to do the whole Times Square thing? It looks kind of impossible to do, but apparently they've got it looking as it is going to be perfect. I think I've read somewhere as well, they've got the New York Fire Department against the police department, and they're doing all sorts of different things. But anyway, it's a free fight card for what it's worth for us boxing fans. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero is the main event on this card. This is Ryan's first fight since the beatdown of Devin Haney, which turned into a no contest. Got I wouldn't say reward is not the right word. Got banned for X amount of months for failing 2 PED tests. But he's back now, and obviously Rolly, this is his second fight since losing his belt to his super lightweight belt to Pitbull Cruz back last year. They're both up at 147 pounds now. Let's break this down, Dave. For me, Ryan is fast, he's skillful, he's powerful, he's probably got the best left hook in the game. That's without PEDs in his body. Rolly, I've been very critical of him on here, and I don't dislike him. I think he's good. I think he's good for the game. He's quite funny on the mic, as in terms he's quite dippy and dopey. He looks the part. He's just a typical American, really. He can box, but there's just something lacking with him. He does carry power, but he does everything else kind of wrong. He was gifted a decision against old man Barroso, and I just can't get into him. And I'm not the only one. Jay was on here the other week on Monday, and he kind of said the same thing. As a champion, Rolly was rubbish. Yeah. And he's going in with Ryan Garcia. This is a massive fight in terms of name value as well. They've both got good social media following, especially Ryan Garcia. Obviously, Ryan Garcia, they're both jumping up in weight. And I can only see this going one way. But before I give a prediction, mate, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero up at welterweight. What's your thoughts on this with both of these guys, mate?
Rolly Romero is a funny one for me. Like I say, I know he's a former world champion. He's had a few sketchy decisions for me. I'm with you. He doesn't do anything great. He reminds me of Kambosos a little bit with the opportunities that he gets. Now, don't get me wrong. Kambosos was the undisputed unified champion or whatnot. So it's slightly different that way. But it's just always like he doesn't do anything fantastic yet. He's always seems to be getting decent enough fights in that sort of narrative, if you know what I mean.
He's got good name value, isn't he, Rolly?
He has. So like you say, he rocks the mic well. Do you know what I mean? He talks well. So he probably talks himself into decent positions. Ryan Garcia, I'm interested in this fight because I want, he's like you said there, his left hook's always been a fantastic weapon, and he's so fast. I want to see if we got a sort of Conor Benn, sort of Lisa Boone Gardner sort of situation here, where after they've been caught pissing hot, their performances, that the knockout power seems to have evaded them. So I'm interested in that with Ryan Garcia. I think the speed is still going to be there. But I want, if he doesn't knock out Rolly Romero, people are going to be saying, "Oh, it's only because of the juice." So there's that narrative, and he's also coming to this. I haven't seen a lot of it like yourself. I'm the opposite to you. I'm not really into grand arrivals and people turning up, and I'll catch bits and pieces, but I couldn't watch a full load of it. But
so much this week, mate. So much.
Yeah, but Ryan Garcia's been. I think he's toned it down very slightly. I think he seems to be very switched on. All the shenanigans that were going on with Haney doesn't seem to be there at the moment. He seems to be on it. And again, you know me, I'm not into the old talking shit and all that. Like I said last week, I'm quite happy to just have a black hood on, black shorts, walking, like rappers coming in that you don't know, all that sort of shit I hate. So the fact that he's all business suits me down to the ground. So yeah, I'm intrigued here. I like Ryan Garcia, to be fair. I like his style. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight, to be fair. You are right what you're saying. So I'm reading between the lines. You're doing a Conor Benn sort of narrative, if you like. Now he's off the juice, so we think he's off the juice. Can he still hit as hard? Has he still got the pop? That's what you're looking to find out. Yeah. I think it's valid, really. Yeah, because, like I say, we've seen in the past when people have pissed hot that when they come out again later, these explosive knockouts that were happening in previous fights are not there anymore. So, and like I say, at the minute, and if Ryan Garcia doesn't, put Rolly down or stop him, them questions are going to be there straight after.
Plus, this is at 147 as well, Dave. So he's moving up in weight as well.
Yeah. And again, we're talking of that 147 as well. Ryan Garcia is a good addition to that division as well. There's a lot of names in that division. It's always, it's a stellar division, and Ryan Garcia being in that as well, makes that more interesting, which I like.
Yeah.
But then obviously the narrative for this being both on the same card is that it's going to be a rematch for Garcia versus Haney, and Haney's always talking about moving to 147. The only issue with Haney is I don't think he carries the pop.
Well, he's fighting, but according to BoxRec, he's fighting at 147 tomorrow. Tomorrow, Friday. So it'd be interesting to see what he's got. We'll move on to him in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get on to him in a minute, but I've got different concerns about him. Going into the fight, all that aside, going into the fight, I think that Ryan Garcia is the better boxer. I think he's a harder puncher. I think his fundamentals are better. He's faster. So for me, I think Ryan Garcia makes a bit of a statement here. And I think that Ryan Garcia will stop Rolly Marrero. And I think he's going to stop him in round 7.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I think Rolly will have pockets of success. He moves in and out. He tries to establish his jab. Will he be able to do it against Ryan? I'm not so sure. Like you said, I think Ryan will be looking to make a statement as well, coming off the drugs ban. I mean, somebody put a video on Twitter earlier on today about Ryan Garcia in the press conference with Devin Haney and the press conference yesterday or the day before, and the difference in his voice, like you could tell he was on something. It was quite, and now it's quite squeaky, as if in like he's clean living now. Do you know what I mean? And his like you just said there, you nailed it. His attitude is changed. He's a bit more respectful, a bit more quiet. There's no bullshit coming out of his mouth. Drinking alcohol and things like that. He was doing racist comments. He does look like he's taking it seriously. And when he's knuckles down, he's razor sharp and he's focused. He should be far too good for Rolly. But that sounds disrespectful to Rolly because he was a world champion, whether we like it or not. But I just don't think he was a very good world champion, and he will get opportunities again if he wins here by whatever decision. Possibly he could do. He'll get more opportunities coming his way. But I am with you. I think he's too fast. He does hit harder, even though Rolly can crack. I think he'll take him a bit late in the 7. I think Rolly will be trying to put on a show as well. I'm not a forgotten man, if you like. It's not all the it's not the Garcia and Teofimo Lopez show. I'm here as well. But yeah, I'm gonna go round 9, mate. Round 9 for Ryan Garcia stoppage. So we just spoke Devin Haney. He's on this card. He's taking on Jose Martinez. I said, according to BoxRec, he said he was up at 147. You're right. This is kind of a semi-final. Devin Haney's in his semi-final. Ryan Garcia's in his for them to meet. I don't know what's going on with that shit show in terms of Bill Haney and Devin said they wouldn't fight Ryan Garcia because they were taking him to court and all this kind of jazz. I don't know if that's ongoing. I've got no idea what's happening there. Unless Uncle Turki's got involved, mate. But they look to be fighting each other in September, August, whenever it is. And this is Haney's first fight as well since the beatdown from Ryan. Yes, we can keep going on about the drugs. He was badly hurt. He was knocked down 3 or 4 times, whatever it was. But it is a no contest, and that's right. That's how it should be. Questions will be asked of him what he's like after that. He's never had a beating like that, irrelevant of what was in his system. And Ramirez is coming off a loss to Arnold Barboza Jr. Now, when we spoke to Jay the other day, Dave, and he gave his opinions of what he thought the weekend. With Ramirez, I mean, he had his theory about it being a stoppage in terms of a cut and things like that. And I think in that sense, he could be right. I can see this being so one-sided in terms of Devin Haney if he hasn't got flashbacks of being beaten up or if he's not gun shy and things like that. Because Ramirez at 32 is still a good fighter, don't get me wrong. But that version that lost to Josh Taylor back in 2021 for Undisputed, that to me when he was in his pump, when he was in his prime, and he lost to one of the best in the world at the time in Josh Taylor, which nobody talks about, which is it's a shame. Yes, it was around about COVID time and things like that, but that's irrelevant. And I don't think he's that guy anymore. No. I think he's good, but I cannot see him challenging for any kind of version of a world title. So if Devin Haney's on it, up at another weight class, a bigger weight class, and he gets that jab going. He's got fantastic feet. What is he? 31-0 with 15 KOs. He's not a knockout artist. I can't see him stopping Ramirez at any time of this 12-round fight. But I think it could be a schooling if he gets into his rhythm. So before you talk, mate, I know I've been waffling a bit. I'm going to go straight in here. I think it could be a one-sided schooling from Devin Haney, and it could get quite boring as well. I could see a little bit of a Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis fight here. So I think Haney's got more than enough to take care of Ramirez. Stoppage, knockdowns, jeopardy in terms of people looking vacant, legs wobbled? Nah, just a masterclass in boxing, if you like. Yeah, that's where I see it, mate.
I agree, mate. I agree. That's exactly the way it's going to go for me. I think they've picked this opponent perfectly, really. For, let's face it, it's a although the records state that the fight never happened, it happened, and it was a bad defeat. So for me, they've picked an opponent who is a good opponent. Like you said, he's not in his prime anymore.
I don't think so.
He isn't throwing shots like the ones that Devin Haney was taking against Brian Garcia. So it's for me, it's a win-win for him in terms of he's going to go in there. For me, he's going to get his confidence back, get his boxing back, but there's not jeopardy there that he's going to get caught with a solid left hand. He's not going in there with a killer. Straight
fights at distance, Dave, as well, doesn't he? Sorry, mate. He fights at distance, so he's before the Garcia fight. Yeah, he's tailor-made. It's quite hard to land on at times.
That's what I mean. And coming off, listen. Let's not brush it, guys. Coming off the defeat, it's probably an ideal opponent. It's a name, so people can't poo-poo the opponent. But he's going in with someone that's not going to be on the in the pocket, pushing him back and trying to knock him out. It's not going to happen. So Devin Haney gets through this fight, gains a bit of confidence, gets back to his boxing, and then it tees him up lovely. So there's not jeopardy there that he's going to get caught with the shots that he was getting caught with in his previous fight. So I think that it's a good pick of opponent, straight off after that defeat, which is what it was. But going into the Devin Haney Garcia fight at the time, yes, Devin Haney's footwork's brilliant. He's always had it his own way. He's boxed very well, but his hand was so low. His right hand was so low in that fight. He was getting with so many left hooks that he's got to be careful. Is that doubt always going to be there now? Has he gone and worked on it, regardless of whether it's not the same opponent just yet? The night it was so obvious to everyone. And now even going into the fight with Ryan Garcia, that's the shot that he throws. Callum Smith's another one. You push Callum Smith back, he was trying to get you with a check left hook. So if you're not training for that going into a fight, then more for you. So yes, he's not in with Garcia at this stage, but surely he's got to be coming in. He's got to be worked on his defense, having a high guard, trying that, knowing that the fight's coming next. Yeah. You see what I mean? Yeah. And doing what he always does, because on the front foot as a boxer, he's brilliant. But he got exposed by Ryan Garcia, and if he doesn't work on anything, he's going to get exposed again. Because yes, Ryan Garcia is pissed hot and whatnot, but he still had that left hook and that fast-paced hands before this. Yeah, you know what I mean? He did. Yeah, but he may not have had the same amount of power. We don't know with the juiced-up thing, which is what I said previously. But he still could punch at the point. I mean, Luke Campbell. He caught Luke Campbell. Knocked him out.
He got off the floor to do that as well.
He got off the floor to do it. So he carries power. So I'm interested to see. Yes, I think that I'm with you. I think Devin Haney wins this fight on points in a very one-sided fight. But I want to see something different in his defense leading up to the rematch, as you say, or the fight that's coming up. This is a semi-final. So yeah, I'm with you. Devin Haney on points, but I'm looking at if Ramirez does throw shots, how he reacts.
That's fair. That's a fair analysis, to be fair, mate. Yeah, I think I'll be looking for the same as well. Right, Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barboza Jr. This is for Teo's WBO super lightweight title. Simple question here. Which Teofimo turns up? That's kind of the way we always go with him. We know how good he is. If he comes in like he did against Steve Claggett, Jermaine Ortiz, and Sander Martin, there's a very, very, very good chance that Arnold Barboza Jr. beats him. And that's off the back of the Jack Catterall fight, where a lot of people thought he wouldn't beat Catterall, especially away from home. The 31-0, 32-0 was a padded record. Oscar had kept him in. He's with Oscar now, isn't he? Where he was with Top Rank or wherever. They kept him in cotton wool. When he was released out, he wouldn't do the business, but he did. And that's his best win to date. But Teofimo Lopez again, mate. Huge stage, Uncle Turki card, Times Square, the whole world watching. If he comes in and performs like he did, don't get me wrong, the Lomachenko fight was a long, long time ago. But a most recent one, the Josh Taylor fight, he looked $1 million. That version turns up on Friday night. Barboza Jr. gets that, that O's gone. We'll see a fantastic version of Teofimo Lopez. The one we all expect to see from him time and time again. But is the headspace in the right place? What's the dad? Is the dad been playing up? What's he doing outside of the ring? He's had problems with his family, with his kids. And don't get me wrong, I've seen bits and pieces, mate, this week, and he's looking happy. He's looking fresh. He's talking a good game from what I've seen. He's dressed up all these kind of costumes. He doesn't look down. He doesn't look depressed. But again, back to my original question: what version are we seeing of Teofimo Lopez on Friday night, mate?
Teofimo Lopez fights are the hardest ones to predict on the shows that we do. It really, really is, because you nailed it. You just never know what one you're going to get. He struggles to get up for certain names. Now, I believe he has to get up for Arnold Barboza Jr. Arnold Barboza Jr. has just come off a great win against Jack Catterall. He's a live opponent. He's hungry, and he is. So you can't take that away from him. So Teofimo Lopez cannot take him lightly, and I hope that he takes that into account, because again,
it'd be stupid not to.
He blows hot and cold. Yeah, I believe the names that he does blow cold against are smaller names than Arnold Barboza Jr. So I believe that Teofimo Lopez will be up for this, and he's proved time and time again against people that had give him jeopardy, against names that he performs. So it's just whether what he thinks of Arnold Barboza Jr. I think he needs to take him seriously. Jay predicted Barboza to win this fight, didn't he?
He can win it if he turns up, like you said there. If he turns up like he did against Steve Claggett, Jermaine Ortiz, and Sander Martin, there's a huge case Barboza Jr. could easily outbox Teofimo, because he looked. I didn't say he looked dreadful. He looked okay, if that. He didn't look great, did he? But he just done enough to win the fight,
Yeah, it's whether we can be bothered. So he's a hard one to predict. He really, really is, and it's very difficult to go against him for the names that he's actually beaten. And if you're going back in time, I know history is history, but if you're looking at the resume of him, without knowing Arnold Barboza Jr., you look at you see Lomachenko's, you see all these guys, you think he wins this fight. The Josh Taylor fight was a fantastic fight. He fought so well in that fight against Josh Taylor.
Oh, he's brilliant. So, fantastic performance. Best one since the Lomachenko fight by a country mile.
Yeah, exactly. So that Teofimo Lopez turns up, and Arnold Barboza's got a big mountain to climb. Yeah. So it's just whether he will. So I'm going to go in. I think he wins, but I think he wins on points. I like Arnold Barboza Jr. I think Arnold Barboza Jr. is going to push him all the way.
Yeah, I do.
But again, I got no. If Arnold Barboza Jr. wins, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's got a lot to, without being disrespectful to Barboza Jr. It's got a lot to do with the Teofimo Lopez that turns up. Because the Teofimo Lopez that turns up against names wins for me.
Yeah, and that's why he's in a lot of people's pound for pound top 10 lists, because he is a special fighter when he can be bothered. I agree, mate. I think he'll dominate most of this fight. He'll get into the rhythm. He'll start showing off, and he'll show us how good he really is. But I'm not sure he's got enough to get rid of Arnold Barboza Jr. Yes, he has got power. He's got knockouts in the past. Of course he has. But Arnold Barboza's tough, and he won't give in. He won't want to lose that O. He's worked too hard to get that 32-0. So, but I think maybe the level might show on Friday night. And yeah, I'm the same as you, mate. I'm going to go for Teofimo Lopez on a points decision. Right. Let's move over to Saturday, over to Riyadh. Canelo Alvarez makes his first. Well, he makes his debut under an Uncle Turki card, if you like. He's got that 4-fight deal. This is the first one. This is in crazy times, I think, Dave. I think they're doing this, correct me if I'm wrong, they're doing this American time via Saudi time. So what I mean by that is it would be prime time for everybody in the States, but in Saudi Arabia, I think the ring rule is going to be like 6 a.m. or something daft like that. And that's crazy. That's crazy.
Is this fight not on the normal time as we would get it if?
It's on if they're doing the ring walks at prime time, then it'll be on about 11 p.m. for us. I'm guessing off the top of my head. It'll be on about 11 p.m. for us. For the Saudis, it'll be at 6.
Saudi's the same time as us, isn't it?
I think they're 3 hours in front, aren't they? So it could be even later. I'm not that clued up. I've obviously been listening to other podcasts and media outlets, and they said the ring walk's looking about 6 a.m. in the morning. How true that is, don't come at me, but that's what I've heard. Whatever reason.
Can you imagine the crowds? It's hard enough to get a crowd in there at prime time. You're going to get a crowd of Saudis in there screaming for Canelo at 6 in the morning. That ain't on the piss.
I might be wrong.
That ain't been up the night before on the piss and the chang.
Yeah. I might be wrong. We'll find out on Saturday night. But he's over there anyway. He's linked up with Turkey after he said he didn't need him. That didn't last very long, did it? No. He's taken on unbeaten Cuban William Scull. Now, let's be honest, Dave. This isn't the fight. No, nobody wanted this fight. William Scull is only fighting Canelo, so Canelo can add to the legacy. This is Canelo's belt. Yeah. I'm a stickler for people being upgraded or vacant belts, people being stripped. It's not William Scull's belt. Yes, he went and fought Shiskin, whether he was for a vacant belt or he was upgraded. That's Canelo's belt. He didn't beat Canelo in the ring. So this is probably really his world title shot. I know it's just an undisputed fight, but this is Canelo just reclaiming his belt that he never lost in the ring. I can't get up for this. I've got to be totally honest. Obviously, hearing what Nigel Benn said about William Scull getting stopped by Conor Benn in 7 rounds, tongue in cheek. But Canelo's, what's he now? He's had 6, I think he's had 6 fights since his last stoppage against Caleb Plant. One of them he's been beat once against Bivol, but every other fight is a unanimous decision win. Games, I don't care what anybody says, his style has changed. He plods now, but he still does more than enough to win the fights. Scull, he's got that Cuban style, but he's got no pop in his hands, so there's no way on God's green earth that he's going to stop Canelo. I just think this rinse and repeat. I just think Scull will run, if you like, once he feels the power. He might do a bit of a Charlo, be constantly on the back foot, just trying to survive. Yes, I know he's got an undisputed fight. He can win the undisputed belt, but I don't know if he's got enough. This isn't the guy people wanted to see. We all wanted to see Canelo versus David Benavidez. This is just adding to the pension pot. I've got to be honest, I love my boxing, but if this is any late, because I'm at work anyway, so I will be watching it, but I don't know if I'll set the alarm to watch this one, Dave. I've got to be totally honest. I can't get up for this fight. It's
a hard sell.
It is, and it is Canelo. We all love what he does, what he stands for. He'll always have the asterisks with the drugs and things like that, but he is one of the faces of boxing. I just can't see William Scull doing anything against him. Maybe if he goes in and does what Bivol does to him, I'm not comparing the two, but maybe just try and box him off the back foot, land scoring shots, keep away from him, and then you will have to score it via, point scoring, if you like. But then what the judge is looking for, the front foot aggression. I'm trying to sell it a little bit, but at the same time, mate, I'm not up for this. I've got to be totally honest, I'm not up for this fight, but I'm going to go in straight away because I haven't got much more really to say about it. I know it's his first fight. We are looking down the line at Eubank Jr. and going back up and facing Bivol and things like that. But Canelo on points for me. Canelo on points. William Scull just survives.
Oh, you don't think he's going to get the stoppage, No, he hasn't had one since, 2023 or something?
Yeah, well, 2021. Caleb Plant was the last one. So he's due a stoppage, but I think once Scull feels the power, I just think it's going to keep out the way, mate. I think it's going to be a very similar fight to when he fought Jamel Charlo.
Oh, fair enough.
That's why I can see it playing out in my head. Would I like to see a stoppage? 100%. That's what we're here for, knockouts. But I don't know if he does. He's just happy and content and plodding forward and, doing enough and picking up a wage, a pay packet at the end of the fight. And then he's going to be adding to his legacy of being an undisputed champion at 168, twice. So, yeah, sorry, guys, but I'm not for this one.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go against you on this one. I think he does get the stoppage, but I'm with you. I think Scull will be in it for the first half of the fight, he dropped Edgar Berlanga, he dropped Munguia, so he still carries power, Canelo.
He dropped Charlo, he dropped John Ryder, but they all got up and carried on. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm with you. This one is a hard sell, but I also think that Canelo will want to make a statement in this first fight in Saudi, in his 4-fight deal.
Does he need to, Dave? Does he need to make a statement? I don't think he does.
No, he doesn't. I think he will want to.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do anything. It's Canelo.
Yeah.
He runs that division. He runs the belts. He runs boxing, really. But I think, I'm with you. I think this William Scull fight is a hard sell. I'm with you. He's gonna come out. I think he won't win that many rounds for me. I think he will come out. He'll try and box. But I think Canelo, like you said, he plods forward. He's still got decent enough lateral movement. His footwork's not the fastest now, but he will walk him down, cut off the ring.
Yeah,
and he does still carry power.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm not overly sold with this fight. Yes, I will watch it. I'm not going to jump up and down to go to see it, but I will watch it because I love the sport. But I think he gets the stoppage for me, and I think he gets a stoppage in round 6.
Fair enough, mate. I'm intrigued by this one. I really am. Jaimie Munguia versus Bruno Surace Part 2. Now, look, first fight, was it Christmas Eve, whatever it was, New Year's Eve, in Tijuana, Mexico. Munguia, it's just supposed to be a gimme, a Christmas present to the Tijuana faithful, beating him up for X amount of rounds, whatever it was, dropped him in the second round. Everything's lovely and rosy. Let's get the knockout. Let's all go on the tequilas. Let's all go on the Coronas and have a fantastic Christmas. Unfortunately, Bruno Surace didn't read the script, did he? Jaimie Munguia dropped his hands and he landed the money shot, which knocked him out. And as Jay said the other day, he woke up the next morning where the fuck he was. And that's literally what happens. But sometimes you get an opponent. Yes, technically he's not as good as Munguia. He doesn't throw as many shots. He's not as exciting. But you get an opponent you just can't get rid of. Now, I went back and watched that fight, and he throws a kitchen sink at him. And he gets comfortable with the power after. Yes, he doesn't win a second of a round. But irrelevant of him only having 5 knockouts on his resume, and no bugger have ever heard of him, and he's never fought out of France, he threw the shot, it landed in the right place, and he got the win. I'm not saying he's going to win again. I'm really not. But I don't know if this is... No, I can't, mate. There's something about this that, you know, what Jay was on about having premonitions. I've got a premonition that Jaimie Munguia is going to get fucking frustrated. He can't get rid of him, and there could be another money shot landing somewhere in the fight. I'm not going to take the chance. I'm going to go straight in. I think Munguia will get it done this time. He has to. This was a gimme fight. If he loses to Surace again, there's going to be major question marks asked about him. Yes, he went in and done an okay job against Canelo, got beat. But is he going to be that guy when Canelo fucks off at 168? If he loses to a guy that's, you know, nobody's ever heard of, that's only got 5 knockouts on his resume. Well, 4 before then. So, yeah, mate, I am looking forward to it as intrigue at what sort of we get from Surace. Is he that kryptonite for Jaimie Munguia? But Munguia to get him to stop him this time, mate. He's got to sit down his shots more. He's got to probably look for the knockout rather than kind of entertain, if you like. All business mode. Jaimie Munguia to stop him round 4.
When we spoke about this first fight, I said about obviously he had his hands in his pockets. That's how low his hands were. I said all these things. He won every round. He got complacent. He thought he was just going to stop this guy. You know, silly said he got caught with a beautiful shot. He couldn't recover from. In the episode we done prior after that, I said that if this fight was ever remade, Jaimie Munguia would have been in round 1.
Oh, you did, yeah.
And I'm a man who's got to stick with his word.
Yeah.
And I will do that. I think that he will want to right this wrong quick, put it to bed, know that he was messing around in the first fight. And he was getting complacent, he was getting cocky, silly. Oh, he's only had 4 stoppages, he can't take a skin off a rice pudding, all that sort of stuff, and he got whacked. And now you don't have to, we said it before, you don't have to have the biggest amount of power, but you hit him on the button.
The thing is though, Dave, you're spot on 100% right. Munguia had up to then had 35 knockouts in 44 fights, where it was. Yeah. He was throwing a lot of shots. He was landing a lot of shots on Surace, but he kind of got comfortable with them. This is my point why I find it intriguing. He wasn't in any other after the knockdowns in the second round. He wasn't in any trouble where you say, he looks vacant, the legs are wobbly, he's going to get stopped there. He was throwing a bit like Conor Benn and his 2 fights over in the States, winning the fight at a canter. Yeah. But shots landed, but not really in trouble, if you like. He can, withstand the power. But yeah, sorry to interrupt, mate. But that's how I saw it.
No, listen, and I think he got stopped in round 6. So he didn't win any second of any round. So he was obviously under heavy fire, and he threw a brilliant shot. I'm not even going to say it's a money shot because he was wide open and he took it. But I think obviously it's an embarrassment for Munguia. He knows what he done wrong. And I think he's going to want to right that wrong, and he's going to want to right it quick, put it to bed, and move on with his career. So yeah, I said round 1. I'm going to stick with that.
Round 1, you've heard it first there. Interesting to see what happens in the weekly wager. It's got 9 to choose from. Right, Big Martin's back. Big Martin Bakole. 9 weeks ago, he was stopped in round 2 by Big Joe Parker over in Saudi Arabia. Yes, we all know the story. Coming over in 24 hours notice, tight jeans on the plane, not in camp, things like that. That's happened. That's gone. He earned a lot of money for it. But this was the fight he was supposed to be in camp for. It was the next fight for him. Efe Ajagba. Congo versus Nigeria. Bit of an African derby, if you like. Big Martin, Dave's has had a full camp now. Ready to go, ready to make himself relevant again. And I've said in the past that I'm not a fan of Efe Ajagba. I'm really not. We've reviewed him in the past, previewed his fights. He's a big, strong, 6 foot, whatever he is, Nigerian that does carry power. But he's so stiff. There's no head movement. There's no lateral movement. He doesn't do any fakes. He walks forward in straight lines. If Martin Bakole turns up how he was supposed to turn up against, I must say supposed to against Joe Parker. That's a bad example because it was late minute. If he turns up the way he did against Jared Anderson, he's tailor-made. He's tailor-made for Ajagba because Ajagba's got no sort of defense. His chin's wide in the air, and we know what Bakole does with those uppercuts. It's game over. It's good night Lagos, not good night Vienna. It's good night Lagos. We tried in the past when we've done FA Ajagba fights. I've kind of tried to look for positives because he's quite highly ranked, or he's starting to do that well, or we start to do that. He's not. He's got a puncher's chance at heavyweight. If he lands on Bakole, we saw what happened when Joe Parker lands, and he's probably a bigger puncher than Joe Parker, to be honest. FA Ajagba can whack. It depends on Bakole's defense. It depends how serious he's trained for this fight. It depends how serious he wants to get back into the mix of challenging for a world title. Yeah. We're massive fans of Big Martin on here, Scotland's finest. And if he is on his A game, he'll walk through Ajagba. I think he'll stop him fucking early. I'm going straight in here. Martin Bakole to knock out Efe Ajagba cold in round 3.
This fight's more intriguing now for me. Because, listen, I don't care that he was out of shape. He was an undefeated fighter who has now been stopped. Now, every undefeated fighter, I don't care who they are.
No, he'd lost to Michael Hunter in the past.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. I mean, yeah, apologies. I got that wrong.
You mean on current form? It improved.
I mean, the nature of the defeat. So anyone that's been knocked out like that, who, yes, anyone can lose on points. It happens. But you see the manner of the defeat. It makes this fight more intriguing now because, we talk about Bruno Surace and all that sort of stuff, and Munguia, never been stopped. All these sort of guys. Now, all of a sudden, they've been stopped. Same with Haney. When you go into a fight after that, does the ghost and does the horrors of the previous bout go? You can't approach the fight the same way you did before, because yes, he lost. But he's never been put on his arse. His legs were gone like that. So now, is he worried about taking a shot that he wasn't worried about before? Does he subconsciously go into a fight like he didn't do before? You know what I mean? Does he take the chances that he didn't do before? Is his punch resistance the same as it was before? You know what I mean? There's a lot more questions now. Now, going on to the form, we spoke about this fight when it was muted and it was on David McDonald and stuff. We all backed Martin Bakole, and I still back Martin Bakole. But yes, he got paid a lot of money to go in with Joe Parker, but and stuff like that. But is there mental scars that can come off of that? Now, everyone can get up. Everyone can get up and say, no, it was it was a short notice. He got paid all this money and all that sort of stuff. But it was a heavy knockout. Does this affect his career going forward? We're going to find out on Saturday night because Efe Ajagba, I'm with you. I'm not sold on him at all in the way that he boxes and whatnot, but he's a heavyweight and heavyweights can punch.
He can, yeah.
So, but Martin Bakole's come off a hefty knockout. Yes, regardless, he didn't do a camp. You know what I mean? Does that now make Efe Ajagba more buoyed than he was before? So there's different factors in this now that wasn't there beforehand. I'm with you. He is tailor-made for Martin Bakole because if you stand in front of Martin Bakole, you're going to get stopped because the man can punch. He throws shots from his waist. And it's all just
that uppercut, isn't it? From his waist. Yeah, that uppercut. He doesn't even load up on anything. He doesn't sit down. He just goes bosh. He's got natural freakish power. And that chin's up in the air by Ajagba.
It's very George Foreman-esque.
Yeah, it is, mate.
Boom, boom, boom. Now, if Efe Ajagba's not up on his toes and shows any type of lateral movement and doesn't put his back on the ropes, then he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's fucked.
So if he hasn't got a game plan and thinks he's going to fight fire with fire, he's banging trouble. I always thought that Martin Bakole was going to win this fight. I think he's going to do like what he did with Jared Anderson. I think Efe Ajagba approaches it the same way, stupidly, because I don't think he can fight any other way.
Quite robotic, isn't he, Ajagba?
Yeah, I don't think he has the fundamentals to change it up. No. So I'm with you, but I'm going to go a little bit later. I think Bakole wins by knockout in round 5.
Yeah. Yeah, big fans of Big Martin on here. I do like the guy. I just hopefully he comes through and makes a statement and gets himself relevant again. I hope that he doesn't become yesterday's chip paper, mate. We'll kind of seem all that effort and hype about him for nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to seeing what Big Martin does on Saturday nights. That's all those fights are on DAZN, ladies and gentlemen. They're doing a deal. Have you seen the deal, Dave? You can get both nights for $34.99, or you pay the standard. I think it is $19.99 for both fights. So you're saving a $5, unless you've got other means and ways of watching it. Let's go on to Sunday night then. Normally when we see a Inoue fight, it's a Monday or Tuesday afternoon in Tokyo, 50, 60 sellout, whatever it does. The guy's a mega star. He's a superstar, not just in boxing, but in Japan. One of the highest paid stars. He's, what's he now, 29-0. He's 26 knockouts. He's a freak of nature. We love him on there. I think most boxing fans adore Naoya Inoue for what he does and what he stands for. He's returned to the States. Bob Arum's got his wish. He's bringing them over to the T-Mobile on Sunday night. He's taken on Ramon. Did write the name down. Yeah, that's on right in front of me on banner, by the way. Ramon Cardenas. It's again, me and Dave briefly spoke about it. It's not a fight anybody wanted to see, but he's just come to showcase for the American fans. I don't think he needs to, Dave. He's been here twice before. Yes, it was during COVID times, but he's been to America. He's got 2 knockouts. Jason Maloney was one of them, and somebody else. He could have done this in Tokyo in a packed stadium, earning even more money, and Bob's still creaming off of it because he's a promoter. He's not going to sell out this stadium, this arena, whatever it is, 20,000, which is a shame. I'd be very surprised if he does. However, it's hard to get excited about this because I know exactly what's coming. This is part 2 of Yi Jun Kim. There is no one on the planet that can live with Naoya Inoue, in my opinion. Again, MJ is the next fight to make that will give him some jeopardy. And obviously the super fight we all want to see is Nakatani. So he comes out on Sunday night, mate, puts a bit of a show on for the American fans. What Bob's promised them, 2 or 3 rounds, gets into his rhythm, and he'll choose when to detonate. And it sounds boring because we say the same thing over and over again, but that's not Inoue's fault. It's the level of opposition he's got in front of him.
Yeah.
And I'm going straight in here again. Naoya Inoue to knock him out in 5 rounds. Game, set, match. Yeah, let's move on to MJ.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em round for which one Naoya Inoue is going to detonate. They don't want to be disrespectful, Cardenas, but he's a lamb to the slaughter for me, and most opponents are.
Oh, yeah, so exactly. That's my point. That is my point.
Yeah, most opponents are. Naoya Inoue is being showcased in the States again. And really, Cardenas is cannon fodder.
Do you think he'll sell out on Sunday? I've got a feeling he won't. A bit like we said about Canelo coming to the UK and things like that. Belanga and I don't think he sells out in Vegas, Dave. I'm not too sure. I think crowds have dropped over there, even for superstars.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, and I feel for Naoya Inoue because going on boxing ability and the superstar he is within the boxing world, he should sell out everywhere he goes. But
correct,
it's a difficult one. Obviously, he's not American, and Americans are very patriotic. They do back their own. So it's a difficult market to crack as a foreigner, which is what he is, as a Japanese guy. But boxing ability and the superstar that he is within boxing, he should. And and so if he came to London at Wembley, which he wouldn't sell that out for 90,000, but I would go.
He's a dance partner over here. Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
But I'm with you, mate. I think he stops Raymond Cardenas in round 4.
Yeah, it's just adding to the highlight reel knockout moments. Now, the undercard. This is a much better fight. I like this fight. Yeah. Rafael Espinoza versus Edward Vazquez. Obviously, on this podcast, Espinoza was made famous when Dave pulled him out of his arse a couple of years ago to win the WBO featherweight title against Robsy Ramirez. Since then, he's gone on to have a few fights, defended his title. I think this is his 3rd or 4th defense now against Vazquez. Now, Vazquez is decent. Anybody remembers Edward Vazquez? He went life and death with Joe Cordina. I mean, where the fuck's Joe Cordina gone since that beating from Kachi? That was strange. Really rated Cordina. But Vazquez was moaning and bitching and whining in the ring that he should have got a decision. It was a close fight in the end over in Monaco. Joe did do enough, but he was asked a lot of questions. And Vazquez is tough. I love Espinoza. 6 foot. What is he? 6'1", 6'2". Yeah. I have no idea how he makes featherweight, but he doesn't look like a typical boxer because of his height. But he's Mexican and he fights like a Mexican. Front forward, throws loads of shots, all different angles. Hard, gritty, durable. Doesn't give up. Doesn't give a fuck. Exciting fighter. Vazquez probably got Mexican heritage, but he's American. This is a good fight. Vazquez was going to bring it, but I really rate Espinoza. I really do. And obviously, I've said on here before the last few episodes this year. I said, I really want, Nick Ball to kind of get in the ring and unify the belts, forget the Inoue fight. And Nick Ball versus Espinoza is what I want to see next. Yes, I am jumping the gun, guys, because I think Espinoza is going to do enough here to win the fight. A bit of a David and Goliath, if you like, with Nick Ball. But there's some really good champions in this division. But I'm looking forward to this fight more than the Inoue fight, even though we're super, super fans of Inoue. But I do love Espinoza. I think Vazquez is going to bring it, Dave, for 12 rounds. But I think it's going to get kind of bullied and beat up by Espinoza. But I think he's a really tough kid. And I do think it goes a distance. So, again, I'm going in straight away before you come in. I'm going to go Rafael Espinoza to get the job done on points.
I think this is the fight of the weekend. And I'll tell you for why. So, obviously, Edward Vazquez went in with Joe Cordina. Joe Cordina is a slick boxer. Fast, the Welsh wizard. And,
completely different to Espinoza, yeah.
It's very different. And like I say, Espinoza, like you said, is a come-forward fighter. So, he's gonna fight Edward Vazquez's fight. So I think you're going to see a better Vazquez. For me, it's going to be a war. I think it's going to be meeting in the middle, an all-out war. So for me, this is going to be the fight of the weekend. It really, really is. This is going to be a rock 'em sock 'em. And I'm with you. Rafael Espinoza is a big guy for the weight, and then if he does fight Nick Ball, it's going to be madness when they do a head-to-head. Because Nick Ball is going to be eyeballing Espinoza's nuts. That's the sort of height he's going to be at. It's Drago Rocky Balboa stuff.
Just to cut you off, do you remember? Who was the little fat? Remember Willie Carson, the jockey?
Yeah.
I used to see him on the horse racing. He had to stand on a stool to do the commentary because everyone else was like 4 or 5 foot. This is this, isn't it? This is it. Yeah. This is this. Well, yeah, but sorry, mate, you're all right.
But for me, I think this is going to be an exciting fight. Really, really is. Edward Vazquez is going to come and bring it. He's going to give it. He's always going to throw the kitchen sink at Espinoza, and I think there's going to be a lot of toing and throwing in this. It's going to be, like I said, a rock and sock 'em. I could see a couple of knockdowns, getting up off the canvas. I can see this being an all-out, really, really good fight. But I'm going to go against you, not in the terms of the opponent who wins. I think I'll back Espinoza. Like I say, I pulled him up my arse once, so I tend to back him. But I think Espinoza's going to win. But I think he's going to win by a body shot.
Oh,
in round 11, I think this is going to be a fucking all-out war, and then I think there's going to be a shot. They're going to stand in the pocket, and it's going to be one of them ones where you see a shot go in, and all of a sudden it's a delayed reaction, and he goes down.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. It's going to be like a hook then to the sock. He's going to have to punch down in the Espinoza. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I think they're going to be centre of the ring. They're going to be like in the pocket on each other's chests, and they're both going to throw shots. And as they throw shots, he's going to sink one in. And I think you get a delayed reaction, and we're going to talk about brilliant body shots like the shots that we love. I just can see it. So for me, round 11, Espinoza.
Yeah, could be fight of the weekend, mate. Hopefully it is.
I think it will be. I think it will be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And just a cherry on top, if you like. I wasn't going to review it, but obviously he's my prospect of the year. Emilliano Vargas is out again, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, it's a top-ranked card on Sky Sports for us here in the UK. He was only out 5 weeks ago, Dave. We saw him with another highlight reel moment, knocking out his opponent. He's taken on Spaniard Juan Leon here over 8 rounds. It won't go 8 rounds. Obviously, Top Rank and Bob have cherry-picked this opponent for Emilliano to look good on. All eyes will be on him. Handsome, flash, fast, spiteful, entertaining, carries a Vargas name. I've said all this before. He's a young kid going places, a bit like Abdullah Mason, and he's a great addition, to the lightweight, super lightweight division. And as I said, this is an easy one to predict. It's kind of just a cherry on top, a caveat, if you like, to finish off the show. And as he's my prospect, I'm always going to back him. Cherry-picked one, Leon's going to get in there, he's going to try. But as I said, it's a bit like Ryan Garcia, the speed and the spite, the hooks. He's a fantastic boxer, and I love him to bits. And I'm going to go for Emilliano Vargas to stop this guy round 5. But just before you jump in, Dave, before you give your prediction on Vargas, talking of prospects, Jay mentioned about your prospect, and we didn't go into it on Monday about Janae Bostan. That shocked me. I mean, I haven't seen any media outlets confirming it, but he's a prospect, not just because you've backed him, but he's a UK prospect. And for Eddie to get rid of him, something's gone on there. Something's happened for him to release him like that, because someone else would pick him up. And he got a draw that night against Fawaz. It's a learning curve for him, but he's not a hype job after one fucking fight. I find that strange, mate. I find that strange.
Yeah, I don't know quite what to make of that. I do want to see him out because obviously he's my prospect. I mean, say what you want about Bob. He's keeping Emilliano Vargas very, very active in the right way. So I'd like to see my prospect be doing the same. But at the minute, he's obviously got contract issues. He's got promotional issues. He's got so yeah. Hopefully, it doesn't stunt his career because yes, he had a draw, but sometimes they're a blessing in disguise. They bring you back down to earth and what you need to work on. So yeah, I'd like to see what's come of that because obviously Jay mentioned it. But going on to Emilio Vargas, it's another Naoya Inoue moment. Which round you're going to pick for me at the moment with him, and rightly so. With he's at the start of his career. He's a prospect.
Yeah.
He's working his way up the rankings. He's gaining experience, but he does carry power. And he throws a lovely shot. He's fast. His footwork is excellent. He's a really, really good prospect. So you have picked a good one there. I think he goes earlier against Juan Leon. I think he stops him in round 2.
Nice.
Early doors. But he will get the stoppage no matter what round it is.
Yeah, as I said, he's been carefully cherry-picked to get his record up to 20-0, 25-0, whatever it is, before they actually put their hand in their pockets to give him someone that's going to challenge him, to be honest. A bit like Abdullah Mason to an extent. So, yeah, I totally get what they're doing there. But look forward to seeing Emilliano at the weekend. Right, just to finish off, Winners Weekly Wager, guys.
Yeah.
£46 in the pots. Last week, Dave went for Chris Billum-Smith to get the job done. Obviously, went for the knockout. He win on points. So Dave earned us a point there. We double it, turn it into pounds, which makes it £2. 2 points, £2. Going into the pot this weekend will be £48 in the charity pot for the boxing-related charity at the end of the year. But as I said, Dave won the prediction league last weekend, so we go by the rules. Unlike the sanctioning bodies, I keep saying that now. It's stuck in my head. Sanctioning bodies, and whatever body, governing bodies. So Dave gets to pick the banker of the week in this week's Winners Weekly Wager. Where you going, bro?
Well, it's an easy one for me, really. We've just touched on it. It's the last fight that we reviewed, and it's your prospect of the year. It has to be Emilio Vargas. There's a few fights on this week, but some of them, Barboza and Teofimo Lopez can go either way. Canelo, you could probably pick as he could be one that you could probably go with. But no, I think if we're going bankers out of all the ones that we reviewed tonight, you got to think that Emilio Vargas, it's got to be the banker of the week. So for me, Emilio Vargas.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. That's our preview wrapped up for this week. Looking forward to what's happening at the weekend. What are your plans apart from watching boxing at the weekend? Is it the last week in training before you go on the what do the boxers do? So you'll turn up in Benidorm, ground of rivals.
Oh well, yeah.
Media workout.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So yeah, what's the plans for the weekend, mate?
I might have a couple of beers on Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to go and see my dad. My dad's not well, so his brother and my cousins and stuff are driving down from Scotland to see him.
Oh, nice.
On Sunday, it could be the last time. It's the saddest.
That's some drive, Dave. That's some drive back, isn't it?
You've got to drive all the way from Scotland to Portsmouth. Fucking hell. But it's my dad's brother. So again, as sad as it sounds, it could be the last time they see him. So they're coming down. So we're going to go down and see him at my mum's, and that's it'd be nice to see them. I haven't seen them for a couple of years. And then Monday, I might do a spot of fishing on Monday, depending on how I feel. My missus is working. Kids are going to be out with their friends. They're 14, 15 now, so they go out. So it'll only be me here with the dog. So I might do a spot of fishing. And then next Friday I'm off. So I only got a 3-day week at work next week because next Friday morning, myself and Lee Harper on the 6:45. Myself, Lee Harper, Mickey McGrath, Adam Miller. Adam Miller might not be going now, but he's had a few family issues. But so yeah, we'll all be on the flight at 6:45 in the morning, Friday morning, ready to go Benidorm. And
what time to be in the Wetherspoons? That's a more important question before you get on the plane.
The pubs in the air are open, mate. So that you know the rules, mate.
Well, I'll be working, so I'm expecting a picture on WhatsApp of loads of pints as per usual.
I don't think you know yourself, but I don't think you're going to be disappointed when it comes to seeing the pictures, mate. So
no water for Mickey. I don't want to see bottles of Highland Spring.
That fucking Wally's already talking about sitting around the pool. I went there last year. For Paddy's Day. I didn't even see water, let alone drink it or swim in it. It was fucking. From the minute he landed there to the minute I left, we never left the bars. And he's talking about having cocktails around the pool. If he does that, he'd be sitting on his fucking own. I can tell you that for nothing. So you know what he's like, the fella. He'll be pulling up cigars and all this other shit that he does.
You're going to be dragged around the art galleries and coffee shops.
Exactly, yeah.
Is there art galleries in Benidorm? I've got no idea.
Yeah, we'll get there, and he'll be asking what the itinerary is and all this other shit. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
What are you up to the weekend, mate?
That's a quiet one for me this weekend, mate. Work as usual. Just going to enjoy the boxing, try and catch up on all the boxing as I can, which is quite hard at work, but I'll get a stream from somewhere and I'll be ready to go on Monday when we do our review show. 9 fights to review, so it'll be a bit of a cracker, I think, and hopefully we get some great fights. And I'm going to wrap it up there, guys, because it's 8:15. I've got to fuck off to work. Dave's still got his uniform on, so he's got to do his usual shit shave. And I was going to say a shag then. Maybe he does get a shag.
Well, she's working till 10, so there's no danger of that.
Shit, shag and a wank then.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's more like
unless he's too tired. Right, let's wrap it up now in case you say something I might regret. So we'll be back next week. Until then, have a great week. Stay safe. As I always say, enjoy the bloody boxing. Dave, have a good one, brother. Peace out.
Salam, mate.